Hey, how y'all doing?
Hi. Are you in Hawaii still?
I am.
Oh my gosh.
It
So
was,
fun.
it is so fun. It's so beautiful. It was also so random. I was here last year and I met a girl who just posted that she was renting out her room and her car for $400 total for 2 weeks. And I was like, I have to. And like I have a flight buddy pass this year to fly for free. So I was like, I'm gonna get a whole ass 2 weeks in Hawaii for 400 bucks. I gotta take advantage of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, it looks like a cute little cafe too.
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of cafes. I feel like there's a lot of people here that like work remote. So I've been here for like 5 hours at this point, and I've gotten breakfast and lunch here, which is funny. Yeah, I can't believe there's only two of you guys on today, but the real ones.
Christina, we're just leading the charge.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk as if the whole crew is here so that everyone can catch up later. All right, period. Let me share my screen. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I don't know. This is the same. Oh, this is a Thursday. Usually we do Wednesdays. Maybe that's why, thankfully. Okay, so let's just get into nutrition education. I feel like I've gotten a lot of questions about
You're muted, Tara.
Yep, I was just about to say that.
was I muted that whole time?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, anyway, yeah, so we're gonna go over nutrition education. I feel like I've been getting a lot of questions on nutrition lately from honestly beginners, like people who are just starting off, which is normal, but also even just every once in a while, I think a lot of times we need like the refreshers, especially you open Instagram and TikTok, and there's a different nutritional education topic anywhere you look. So let's just kind of like redial it in. And obviously, I think everybody's goal is to get toned, right? Lose body fat, see some muscle definition. Nobody really wants to just have like just a pure skinny look anymore. We want to be able to have rounded arms and definition in your stomach and perky glutes and all the things. So that's what it is to be toned. So let's just talk about the foundations of metabolism first, because that's why nutrition it's one of the reasons why nutrition really matters so much on a fitness journey is literally because of what your metabolism does and how it works. And that's also the root of what we do here is optimizing people's metabolism to accomplish that toned body, but also to feel good internally. So the rate of your metabolism, and I'm sure you've probably heard things like this, and I used to think this too. I used to think as a kid, I thought your metabolism was your digestion, meaning like you eat food and you poop it out. I thought that was metabolism. And people still think that. My 17-year-old cousin the other day said something about that. Like her metabolism is fast because she poops fast or whatever, a lot. And that's not the same. So just know that that's digestion. Metabolism is pretty much the energy balance in your body of calories in versus calories out. It's also the basis of how you gain weight or how you lose weight. Okay. So, but let's really get into the nitty-gritty of it. So obviously calories in, we understand that. That's eating food. Now, calories out, that's what I don't think a lot of people necessarily fully understand. I definitely used to be under the impression that calories out meant going on a run and burning calories in your workout and moving more, just like move and move, and that's how your body burns calories. When in reality, your body's burning so many more calories throughout the functions that it's just doing 24/7 or while it's sleeping or, what majority of the time. So just walking, fidgeting, your digestion, what it takes to, from eating food to pooping it out, all of that takes a lot of energy and burns a lot of calories. Calories and energy, same thing. You'll hear me interchange those words. Also, the thermic effect of certain foods. So, protein, for example, literally burns more calories just to eat and digest than if you were to just eat like a, you know, plate of French fries. So that's also a way that your body burns calories is being selective of what kinds of foods that you're eating. Even little things like fidgeting, it's actually so interesting. Something that I think is a really great way to kind of point this out of your NEAT, NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, is people who are bodybuilders and like about to step on stage, which is extremely unhealthy. And they all say that, and hopefully we all know that by now. Like that sport is very much an extreme sport. It is not a health-based sport, but it is a sport nonetheless. And what they do is they obviously really, 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 really diet down right before they're about to step on stage. A lot of times, depending on how crazy their coach is, can get them down to like 900, maybe 1,000 calories a day. And if you watch a video of them like talking or, recording themselves, because a lot of them, are on Instagram or are coaches themselves or record themselves. When they talk, they literally talk like this because their body is conserving energy. They don't talk with their face, they don't lean in, they don't express with their hands. And that's a great sign that your metabolism is slowing down and conserving energy. So if you're wondering if you have a fast metabolism, pay attention to those little movements. Do you talk with your hands? Do you lean in? Do you have like facial expressions and open your eyes really wide? All of those little things burn calories. And I'm not saying do that to burn calories, but that's a good indicator of like, damn, how fast is my metabolism? Is my body really trying to conserve energy to where I like talk like a zombie kind of and without moving? So anyway, just wanted to put that out there. I always found that interesting. Um, Cognition, just using your brain, learning something new, talking to people, thinking on something really hard, dealing with stress, all like thinking all that stuff. That's working calories too. Your brain requires calories, your whole reproductive system. So like um going through the four phases of the menstrual cycle and all the things, having your period and just having a uterus and that shed this lining, all that burns calories. Having muscle on you burns calories. I know I say that all the time, but seriously, your muscle requires calories just to stay on your body compared to fat. So you can think of somebody who's 130 pounds. One of them is shredded and covered in muscle, and the other 130-pound girl is just made up mainly of body fat. The girl who has more muscle on her, even though she weighs the same, it is maybe the same size, she's burning more calories, which is why she looks toned, she looks tighter, she doesn't jiggle when she walks and whatnot. And it's because of the muscle that's on her just requires her body to be burning more calories just sleeping, just sitting. Okay. Um, Stress and sleep. Stress being like if your body's under a lot of stress, if you're constantly overthinking or constantly worrying, your body's actually going to preserve calories and it's going to be like, shit, there's obviously a threat. L- Let's let's maintain and hold on to our energy, your calories, and then sleep. If your body's getting enough sleep, your metabolism is going to be faster that day. If your body is running on 5, 6, 7 hours of sleep, your metabolism is going to slow down. Okay. So the next thing is also a low or inconsistent calorie intake, which those are the two things that we see women come into to frequency with. Is one, they're just like eating extremely low calories for a long time, or they're just eating such inconsistent calories. Maybe one Monday through Thursday, they're eating 1,600 calories, and then Friday to Sunday, they're eating 3,000 calories. Um, that is going to equate to a low calorie output, meaning those little, again, fidgets or your strength or your sleep is going to take a hit or your cognition is going to take a hit. Pretty much your whole body's metabolic system slows down, including fat loss. So that's why eating enough, eating consistently, is super, super important if your end goal is fat loss or looking toned. Um, and nutrition also fuels your workouts and supports recovery, right? Again, a lot of times we look at just eating calories as, oh, this is going to turn right into fat or whatever. Like, no, that's actually going to fuel your workout so that you lift heavy weights and get the most out of it, which therefore increases your muscle mass and makes your metabolism faster. So, nutrition fuels your workout as well as supports recovery, which is where the progress is actually made. We don't make progress in the gym, we're actually just breaking down our muscle in the gym. And when we make progress is actually when we can recover and when we can repair our muscle, which happens when we sleep and when we eat and when we take rest days and whatnot. So yeah, 2,000 calories of mainly whole food and high protein in a body. Like, if someone is eating 2,000 calories and they're somebody with an efficient metabolism, their hormones are in a good spot, their sleep is in routine, their stress is low, that's a person that's going to have sustained energy and their body fat is going to be low. Now, let's say somebody else is eating 1,500 calories. So they're going to be eating, let's say 500 calories less because let's say they're trying to lose weight. Even if they're eating mainly whole foods, but let's say they're super stressed because they're in a toxic relationship or their job is, terrible and they've caused metabolic damage because they have years of dieting and yo-yo dieting and their hormones are imbalanced, whether that's from birth control or, blood sugar levels or whatever. They also just don't really have any muscle mass on them. They are going to have a very hard time, or sometimes literally an impossible time, to lose body fat, even though they're eating 500 calories less than the other person. So that's why a lot of times women think that just eating less is, of course, the only answer to losing body fat, when in reality, you need to focus on the calories out portion, getting your body's metabolism, your digestion, your hormones, your cognition, all of that in a good spot so that you're burning calories and having a functioning metabolism 24/7, not focusing on eating less, focusing on having a strong, healthy, functioning body. So yeah, sometimes it's not always the calories in portion that leads to fat loss. So how do we get toned with nutrition? Getting toned is having muscle on you and having a low enough body fat percentage. And I'll be honest, there's some statistic out there, I'm sure, but I would say based off of the people that I coach, 90% of women just don't have that first part. They just don't have the muscle on them that they think they do. They have excess body fat on them, which they are maybe confusing as muscle. So they're like, oh, I don't want to build muscle, right? I'm trying to get smaller. When it's like, well, the reason you don't look that way is because you have no muscle on you. Okay, so having enough muscle and having low enough body fat percentage. Now, how do we grow muscle? We strength train, we eat protein, and we get 8 hours of quality sleep. That is the recipe. There is literally nothing else. And that's where I think a lot of people are messing up is they're trying to look for the injection or the pill or the new fad diet or whatever it is that gets them to the end goal of looking toned when there is no shortcut. Once you realize there is no shortcut, you actually get to the results. If you spend time looking for the shortcuts and avoiding these three things, strength training, eating protein, getting 8 hours of sleep, you're never actually going to get there. And then how do we have a low body fat percentage? Eating mainly whole, unprocessed foods. Again, eating high protein, that applies to both building muscle and losing body fat. And then a high daily step count, making sure that you're not just sitting on your ass, the 23 hours of the day outside of your 1 hour workout. You do those three things, you'll have a low body fat percentage. Okay. So it's really that simple. Now, of course, if you have underlying metabolic issues or damage, that's when things can it can slow down. So I'm not saying you do those things and immediately you get the results. If we have years of chronic stress or poor sleep or dieting or birth control, that does slow down the process, which is why it's really important to make sure we have the internal systems running on all four cylinders. So why protein? That was in both categories. Protein helps build and maintain muscle while also being a thermogenic food, meaning it burns more calories to digest. It also keeps you full for a long time, which let's be honest, that's the biggest thing a lot of people running into is they're just hungry or they're having cravings or they want sweet things. So protein is really, it's super, super helpful if you're on a fat loss journey. So why are whole unprocessed foods so important to have them 80% of the time? Provides vitamins and minerals to support your metabolism and your hormones. Also just provides energy for you. You feel better, you feel more vibrant and lively, which is gonna play a big role in all of the other things. And it also has fiber, right? Fruits and vegetables and just whole foods is where we get our fiber, which keeps you full, again, reduces cravings, lowers blood sugar, which is essentially nature's Ozempic, right? That's what semaglutide does, is lower your blood sugar. And it's also less, they are like whole foods are less addictive and less like unsatisfying or insatiating, I don't know. Compared to like highly processed foods. So even if you're hitting your calorie goal and your protein goal, but you're getting it from protein bars, protein shakes, fiber one bars, tortilla, this, I don't know, whatever, like, things that are processed and man-made, um, you are, it's going to have that like addictive, unsatisfying property because that's how those big businesses who make processed foods make money. They keep you fucking hungry. It would be really dumb if they created something that made you actually satisfied and stop eating, right? Like, or get the nutrients that your body's actually looking for. So that's the magic of whole foods. What about carbs? I get that question a lot. So just as a refresher, hopefully you know this, calories are the whole umbrella, the whole pie chart. And the whole pie chart is made up of three things: protein, carbs, and fats. Proteins have 4 calories per gram. Carbs have 4 calories per gram. Fats have 9 calories per gram. All three are essential to life. None of them are optional. Okay? Period. Carbs maintain energy source, or sorry, carbs are the main energy source for strength training. So you want to show up to your workout, you want to build your glutes, you want to build that lean muscle so that you have a faster metabolism and you look toned. Girl, you better be eating your carbs. You better be eating like a lot of carbs, like out of protein, carbs, and fats. You should be eating like triple the amount of carbs than the other two. So hella carbs. Whole food carb sources like potatoes, rice, oats, fruits, veggies. It's what fuels muscle performance and gut health. So if you experience any bloating or any indigestion or anything like that, and your gut is connected to your brain. So I also would say if you have any like mental health concerns or stress, cortisol and carbs are directly inversely related. So more carbs, less stress, more carbs, better gut health, better mental health. So yeah, each meal, meaning each time you sit down and eat, you should see a balance of protein, of carbs, and fats. That will also help you avoid energy crashes, and that's what a balanced meal looks like, which I'm sure we've all heard that before. So what about meal timing and supplements? Try to stick to 3 to 4 meals per day, not 6, 7, 8, 9 snacks, not 1 or 2 meals and 3 to 4 snacks. You really want to prioritize a meal. Again, 80% whole food, high protein. You want to eat within 60 minutes of waking up, and you want to stop eating within or about 90 minutes before bed. Follow those, add 3 to 4 meals in between those, maybe a snack or two if you'd like. And that's literally the perfect meal timing that you want to stick to. So, pre-workout nutrition. If you're about to go to the gym, what should you do? You want a big emphasis on carbs and protein. Something like maybe a banana and Greek yogurt, or blueberries and chicken. I don't know. That's a weird mix. Um, Oats and a scoop of protein powder mixed in that. Right? Big carb focus, big protein focus. And guess what? Same thing for post-workout, right after your workout. Same thing. Big emphasis on carbs, big emphasis on proteins. So I like to have my fats kind of like further away from my workout, right? So if I'm eating or if I'm working out first thing in the morning, my breakfast is going to be a big focus of carbs and fats, or sorry, carbs and protein for that workout. And then I'm going to have most of my fats later on in the day when it's not surrounding my workout. So that's kind of how you'd want to do that. But it's really not that important. You don't have to overthink it as long as you're having something before you work out and something afterwards, and it's a big focus on emphasis on carbs and protein, then you're good to go. Should you fast? No. Should you work out fasted if you're working out at 5 a.m. in the morning? No. Incorporate some omega-3s if you're not regularly eating fatty fish, meaning salmon. If you're not eating salmon every day like me, I love salmon. Incorporate some omega-3s. Okay, that's that. Incorporate some magnesium glycinate at night if you're having any issues with sleep or stress or just kind of like recovery or maybe even energy, right? If you're not getting really good, deep quality sleep, you might have low energy. Magnesium glycinate and omega-3s, those are really the only 2 supplements that like you need. Okay, last slide. What about eating out and alcohol? So same rules apply when eating out. Choose something that's high protein. Choose something that has like, a good fruit or veggie source, so a good amount of whole foods to it. So if you eat out, most restaurants, most places have a protein, a carb, and a fruit or veggie option as something on their menu. Choose something that falls within that. Most of the things do. And try to just like completely avoid alcohol within 8 hours before a workout or 8 hours after a workout. Like you can drink alcohol. I'm not telling you to cut it out by any means, but if like just don't eat it. Don't drink alcohol within 8 hours before or after a workout. That's just like a kind of a hard rule of thumb. Now, why? It's because your body is going to immediately prioritize metabolizing the alcohol out of your system because it's literally a toxin. So it literally shuts off all muscle and fat loss metabolic processes. So essentially that workout that you have within those ±8 hours is kind of just a wash. You're not getting any of the benefits that you think you are. Um, so yeah, and if that, take into account, that means you don't want to be drinking pretty frequently. So something else I like hear a lot is, people saying, should I cut out carbs? Should I cut out sugar? Should I, yeah, do fasting? Should I do intermittent fasting or keto? Or I'm trying to cut out processed this and that. Literally, if you want to go down the route of cutting out something and eliminating something, first of all, I think that's like weird and crazy. I don't like any of that. Like just eat in moderation, drink in moderation, all the stuff. But if your brain is kind of constantly going to what do I need to cut out or demonize, the first thing should be alcohol. Like that is doing so much worse for your body than having cookies 2 or 3 times a week or having carbs at every meal. Like for real. I don't understand how that's not more common to hear. Like now you cut out alcohol and people are like, "What? You're sober?" I'm like, "No, I'm not sober. I'm just not drinking alcohol." Like it's yeah. So anyway, I think having no carbs should cause a way bigger reaction. That's my opinion. But yeah, in general, one meal won't ruin your progress. One drink won't ruin your progress. It's all about what you do a majority of the time. It's all about what you do the majority of the time. And just like your patterns, if you're noticing I'm drinking every single weekend or I'm going to bed every single night at 12, like those patterns are what matters, not one meal, not one drink, not what mixer has the least amount of calories, not what supplement should I take this month. Okay. So, any comments, questions, or concerns? Yay, Julia and Nicole joining, and Annalise. There's only two of us, or three of us in the beginning.
No, I thought this was really good, Tara. I actually was writing down some questions as you were going through. So I
Yay.
know you had mentioned for metabolism, you can somewhat tell if someone has high metabolism because they're, expressive or very stoic, I guess, if you have low. Is there a way that you can actually test your metabolism to see where it's at?
I've gotten asked that before. There are definitely like machines out there. There's like, I think the DEXA scan would be like the most accurate I've heard. It's like a lot of money, so I've never done it.
Okay.
Um, there are some machines out there, but it changes day to day. Like I said, even just how well you slept last night, or how, this is interesting, how the temperature of your environment. If you're in a hot environment, your body's actually burning less calories than if you're in a cold environment, which I always think is so funny when people go to like heated workouts because they think they're burning more calories. You'd actually burn more calories if you were working out in an ice room or whatever. Um, so it's kind of hard, it does change like instantaneously or day to day. But there's some like calculations you can do and whatnot, but yeah, nothing worthwhile.
No, that's good to know. Also,
Mhm.
hot yoga sucks, so good to know that it doesn't actually benefit you.
Yeah, it does suck.
And then I had one other question. So, as you were talking about protein, I know obviously what you're going to say is Whole Foods, get your protein from Whole Foods. However, if you do need to do a protein supplement, I know they have like pea protein and whey protein and all different types of protein supplements. Um, is there one that you think is better or like a more pure source of protein versus the other?
Yeah, definitely whey protein all the way. For sure. It's just a complete protein, which means it has all 11 amino acid essential amino acids. I could be wrong. I think it's 11. But yeah, whey protein is definitely the best. I mean, as much as I always say like no protein bars, no protein shakes, blah blah. And I know I never say no. I'm always like keep them to a
Yeah.
minimum, try not to rely on them, try to only have one per day. Um, Protein bars are a whole different story because like yeah, the whey in it is one aspect. What makes it like actually texture is totally different. But as far as just protein powder, like if it's just protein powder and it's really mainly just whey, like the one that you sent me earlier today, where
Yeah.
it is all made of whole food, it's actually like great. Like it's actually one of the best sources of protein you can get. Even some people even argue even better than just straight meat or salmon or beef is like whey protein because it's literally just like concentrated just the essential amino acids that you need. Um, I like to, yeah, really preach like limiting one artificial protein source per day just so that people can learn how to get protein from whole foods and to get people thinking about whole foods and less processed stuff. But it's not necessarily because like whey protein is bad for you by any means. So yeah, whey protein as in a powder. I much prefer protein powder over protein bars or protein shakes, that are already like pre-made. So yeah,
Awesome. Thank you.
of course. And then also I wanted to say that last question too. You also can calculate your own metabolism, basal metabolic rate by tracking your food for 2 weeks, taking your fasted body weight every single morning for those 2 weeks, and finding the average. So let's say you log every single day, you find that the average amount of calories that you ate over those 2 weeks were 1,600. And you notice that your body weight went down over those 2 weeks. Okay, now we know that your basal metabolic rate is over 1,600. Or vice versa. If over those 2 weeks you find the average, your body weight went up. then you ate above that. But it's something that you can control and you can improve by, again, sleep, stress, having more muscle on you. So just when you find that number, that doesn't mean that's your number for life. That doesn't mean that's your number 6 months from now. But that's how, like, me as a coach, a lot of all of you guys when you joined had you track without changing a thing for about a week, sometimes 2 weeks. And it's for just that, to see what are you currently eating and are you maintaining the same weight type of thing. So yeah, any other questions? I love me some questions. All right, girlies. I might do one of those like Q&A, kind of like the anonymous question box that I did, I think, a couple months ago. I think that was fun. Thank you so much for joining. See you next week.
Enjoy
Bye.
Hawaii.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Yeah, mahalo.